What's up everybody? I hope you're all doing well and staying safe out there. Today I wanted to look at some budget fans. Now these fans are the Apevia 412L RGB Spectra fans. Now these 120mm fans are rated at 1350 RPM as well as a CFM of 57.67 with a dBA of 27.7. The life expectancy of these fans is about 25,000 hours, which is not up there high, but budget fans usually fall in and around this amount, and that's usually due to the cost-saving measures that they use to make these fans so cheap. Now one thing to note, and I find curious and I want to find out in today's video, these fans have an mmH2O rating of about 0.96, and that is a static pressure rating. It tells you how good a fan can push through an object if it's placed right in front of it or right behind it. And the reason I'm curious about how these fans will work is because one of these fans will be getting installed on a 120mm AIO that is in this system that these fans will be going in today. Now these fans are not really rated or made to do any kind of water cooling or be placed onto radiators, so if you see these fans in this video today and you're thinking about buying them, I would advise you to only look at these fans if you're trying to move air through your case, and don't look at them as a solution for water cooling, although we will be seeing how this one does and if it lowers our temps on our CPU at all when it goes into the system. Now the one fan that is in this system that we will be replacing is a Fractal Design Silent Series 120mm fan. Now this fan is only rated for 1200 RPM and it has an mmH2O rating of 0.85. So I am expecting that we will see some kind of drop in temperatures, although how much is yet to be seen. Not only do these fans have a higher static pressure, not by much, but they have a higher static pressure than the fan that is in this system now, but we also will be adding the 3 fans as intake fans, which will give us that nice positive pressure, which I advise anybody, if you're building a PC or you have a PC now, you need to have positive pressure on your case. Now positive pressure is really only important for one major reason, and that reason is it helps to keep dust out of your case because you can control where the air is coming in and you can filter those spots that you control the air coming in at to give you less dust in your system. But that's a completely other video in and of itself. Now first off, I want to go over some of the pros and the cons that I see with these fans. So let's start with the pros first. Now the first pro that I see with these fans, of course, is the price. Now for this 4-pack of fans, which I did find on a sale, you pay about $30 and regularly they're only $36.99. About $40 is what you're going to end up paying for these fans, as opposed to some of the name brand fans where if you buy 4 of those, you're getting up into the $120, maybe up into the $180 range. Now the next pro that I see with these fans is the RPM. 1350 is a decent RPM for budget fans, as well as they have a controller where you can control the LEDs, which has over 366 different combinations of modes that you can choose from. And that controller that it comes with can handle up to 6 fans plus 2 LED strips, which do not come in this pack, but if you wanted to buy some in the future, you wouldn't have to buy any extra equipment to run them. Another pro that I see with these fans is that they do have RGB, and I know some of you out there might not see that as quite a pro, more of a con, but I mean, come on. We all know that RGB adds at least 10% performance to any piece of hardware that has it. Now, another pro is something that I did mention already is the 366 different modes that you have to choose from on the controller. And out of those 366 modes, you're bound to find some kind of combination, color combination, and different kind of variations and how it moves that you're gonna like. All right, so now let's go over some of the cons. Now, first off, one of the cons is what is the bearing made out of? Now, I can't find any information online about what this bearing is made of, so it leads me to believe it's probably some cheapo sleeve type bearing. That's probably what it is, indicated by the 25,000 life hours that it has, which is on the lower end of a life expectancy. But for fans that are this budget, I really didn't expect it to be made of any high-end parts. Now another con I found with these fans is that they are not PWM fans. And not to mention, you can't even control the speed on the control. I thought when I bought these that maybe it would come with a speed control where you could slow down or speed up these fans with the control at least, but it looks like if you install these fans in your system, they're going to be running full tilt as long as your system is running. Also, if the handheld control or the control that you plug these fans into breaks, then you don't have any fans, and you have to either find another control or buy a whole separate pack of fans and just use the control and try to get rid of the fans, which you probably can't because they are only able to be controlled by that control. So that's definitely a con on this one. Now, one thing that you might find as a con, I don't find it as much of a con because I don't really use it that much, but is the lack of RGB support through the motherboard or any kind of software that your motherboard might have. You might have a setup right now where a lot of your RGB in your system is controlled through your motherboard, but unfortunately with these, there's no way to keep your RGB in sync. All right, well, that's the initial pros and cons that I see with these fans. Now, let's go ahead and get them in the system and see, did I waste my $30 or was it money well spent? See you on the flip. Alright guys, so we got the fans in the system, and I personally think that they give this system a lot of personality, but now we're going to take a look at the performance, because they can look good all day long, that's all fine and dandy, but when it comes down to it, if they're not giving you better performance, then it doesn't really matter. But before we look at the performance, I want to ask you guys, and go ahead and put it down in the comments, have you come across any good fans, any good budget fans? Just go ahead and put them down there in case anybody comes by this video. Maybe they're looking for fans to add to their system, or they're building a PC and they're looking for some good fans to put in their system. Go ahead and let them know what kind of budget fans have you come across that are any good, and mostly for my own curiosity too as well. I kind of want to see, you know, what's out there. Maybe I'll pick up some, test them too, make a video on that. But let's go ahead and get to the numbers and exactly what did these fans do when we added them to this system. Okay, so for this test, I used a custom benchmark using Jedi Fallen Order, and I ran 30-minute benchmarks, custom benchmarks, on a 9600K at 5 gigahertz. The GPU is a Zotac 2060 Super Extreme Amp Edition. The ambient temperature was at 21 degrees Celsius. So let's go ahead and see how did these budget fans fare. Okay, so the system started off with a one Fractal fan installed on the AIO as an exhaust fan, and the CPU hit a low of 49 degrees Celsius, seeing temps spike all the way up to 81 degrees, but averaged around the 74 degree mark. And after adding the 4 Spectra RGB fans, the 9600K only spiked up to 78 degrees and had a low of 47 degrees. But the averages sat around the 63 degree mark. That's an 11 degree improvement to the CPU temps. The GPU isn't as impressive. The first run with the Fractal fan saw the GPU get up to 67 degrees with an average of 66 degrees Celsius. And with the 4 Spectra fans, the lows were at 60 degrees with the high only reaching 64 and average at the same temperature. I kind of expected this because it's a pretty beefy triple fan card, so it's good at keeping temps in check, you know, no matter if it has a lot of airflow or not. But the fan speed on the GPU saw a reduced RPM with the 4 Spectra fans added. It went from 1943 to 1789 RPM for the max. So lower temps and the card's fans didn't have to work as hard. Also, the RAM saw lower temps as well, from a high of 57 to a high of 53 degrees Celsius. Now that's only a 4 degree drop in temps, but it still is pretty good because I didn't really expect the RAM to drop much, if any at all, but it did. It dropped 4 degrees, so that's good. Okay, so that's a pretty good improvement on temps, you know, especially for the CPU with these fans. So if you're on a budget, building on a budget, or you're just on a budget and you're looking to add some cooling performance to your PC, I definitely recommend that you at least check these fans out. And also, if you're a fan of tech and tech news and tech videos, I also recommend that you hit that red subscribe button down there. It helps the channel out, and I would appreciate it so very much. Alright, so on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to get out of here. I hope you guys are staying safe out there, and I hope to see you in the next upload. And with that said, I am out of here. Peace.